All right, ongoing project. You can see two knives here this time. This shorter one I've been working on for a couple weeks. This longer one, I flattened out the curve, these two knives at the same time. This has taken me a while to get to this point, which I'm ready to quench. I put a blade profile on both of them. This took me a while to do. I was using sanding belts that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's and Harbor Freight, which I believe is aluminum oxide. I'm not sure what it is. And then I got, I believe these are zirconian belts. And this blade took me a quarter of the time to do than this blade. These belts made a huge difference, and I use them on my 1x30 and my thicker belt grinder, and they've made a huge difference. This right here I've had for years, hadn't been using it, thought about selling it a couple times, and now a lot of old tools I've had are coming back in use. So, you know, hang on to some of your stuff and you may find out you're going to need it later. I'm getting ready to quench these, clean them up, putting the handles on them, and then sharpening them up and finishing the blade. I hope to get quite a bit of that done today. Learned quite a bit. The biggest thing I learned is I cut this out on a horizontal bandsaw, which took me forever. This is cut out using a angle grinder, fraction of the time. I'm making these faster, can get them out faster, and that's just for practice. But I'm going to go ahead and quench these and start the handle process, and then hopefully here in a day or two I can show you the finished result. All right, I didn't have my mic hooked up for the first quench. This is the second quench, the longer blade. Sorry about that. Got the mic hooked up for this one. No warp. All right, I'm happy with that. Let these cool. Shut down the burner. I'm going to check the temperature of this forge. I may do some tempering in it if it cools down fast enough. All right. That's out of the way. Next thing is to put handles on them, or clean them up and put handles on them. I'll do that next. I'm outside because I have some knives to test, and I want to test them outside. I'm finally done with them, and I'm just getting ready to test them. This is the shortest of the two. This is the handle I put on it. I ended up finishing the long one, or longer. This is about 11-inch blade. This is about a 7-inch blade, 6-7 inch. made out of a car leaf spring from a small car. Now, these handles are a little bit, what some people would say, thick. I think modern knives, the handles are way too thin for me. I don't like them. They don't feel comfortable. You get a lot of shock, especially if you're using them as a hacker or as a small hatchet. So both of these have what some people would say are chunky, but I like them. I've had a few people try them. They like them. Both handles, now let me get flare at the end so you can hang on to them. This knife took me about a quarter of the time to make than this one, because I've learned quite a bit. Well, let's see what they can do. The first test, if I can do this without knocking the camera, rope. Went through that real easy. Just slices right through that stuff. The next test, usually when I do this test, I end up knocking my camera over. But it cuts through this. Pretty easy. And this is some cedar planks, or cedar from a cedar planks. Sorry if that's a little bit shaky, but it cuts through that pretty good. But what we're here for is, let's try it this way. Chops really good. I carry Swiss Army knives, some other knives. I can do some fine carving, make traps with or whatever. This would do pretty good carving, but the smaller pocket knives are easier to handle. I want something I can chop through limbs with and get through what I need to get through, even in a small knife. This one's the bigger chopper. Another thing, I'm not worried about twisting this blade because it is so thick. That's pretty good. Now, hardwood. Normally, I wouldn't use it for this, but this is seasoned firewood. I think it's oak. And it will chop through it. That's the small one. The bigger one will even do better. So these are knives that you can take out into the bush and build a shelter with no damage to those blades. on hardwood. And one of the ways you can tell it's a little bit small. Clean cut. Clean cut. So it's not picking up any burrs, any rollovers. Let me get this. Blade is still sharp. So, to sum it up, leaf spring, small one, camp knife. I can use it around the camp. If I'm out away from camp, I have to get through a little bit of branches and stuff, bushes, can get through it. This one I can use to make a shelter, cut down bushes, take out some pretty good limbs, and not worry about the blades chipping and rolling over on me. Because I've tested these pretty good, both of them. Really like these. Took me a while to make. What I learned, this took me about a quarter of the time. My next knife is even going to be faster. I'm actually going to start making these with the sheaths that I'm working on, and probably going to start selling them. But this is just my opinion. These are nice looking knives, really like them. And they will do the job they're intended to do. I really like the leaf spring metal. It's hard. It's relatively easy to work with, even at that thickness. But it just, with this handle, it just feels, both of them feel so good. But this is what I ended up with. And I'm real happy. I'm going to make more. But this is my first real serious attempt to make a functional, all-around camp knife, bush knife. And this is what I ended up with. And thanks for watching the videos.